Hello everybody, this is Marty from Marty's Matchbox Makeovers. How are you going? As you can see, it's a miserable day today. I was going to go down to the local hobby shop and buy some supplies, but so because of the weather I've decided to stay in today, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to show you around my latest hobby room and what sort of things I'm working on. So if you want to follow me, I'll give it a tour. So the first thing you may notice is that my wife used to have some section here that she called her own and had all her sewing supplies in it. Well, that's now moved outside into another shed we've got. I've tidied up the notice board there. That was getting a bit out of control. I've been testing out these Starbond Glues, which are fantastic. And in fact, if you want to buy any, they're super glues. I'll leave a link on my page at the end. You can maybe get some. SMS have sent me some, they're a local paint company, www.scalemodeler.com. They've sent me some paints to test out. I haven't had a chance yet, so I apologise for that if they're watching. Just point a few things out here on the notice board. For example, these pictures here, these are the 3D printed barrels that I make. I sent some to somebody and a steering wheel too, and they were so pleased with the results they sent me some photos back, which I thought was pretty cool. What else we got here? Oh, this is a sample for the box that I made for that latest 8-wheel tipper. This was a bit washed out, so I didn't use it, but I kept it there because it's a reminder of the format that you've got to use. I've got a few letters here to catch up with. I keep all the letters so I can reread them and work out who sent me what, and I reply to some of them, which is time consuming, but I enjoy doing it. I've put a few floating shelves up since last time you were here. Up here I've got, you can see Kevin's sitting up there. Hi Kevin. And he's got some new mates. This one's a kangaroo, might feature soon. And this one here is a hedgehog that I picked up in England. But usually you see those as roadkill. I don't think that would go down too well in a video, so I haven't decided quite yet what to do with him. The last video I put out, it was the diorama with all the for the D-Day landing. I don't know what I'm going to do with these, but here I'll put them up there to save because I put a bit of work into them. So what I did basically was I made two of the same diorama and then I modified one to make it look like it had blown up. I mean, I think they worked quite well. Down here under the bench, I've got some packages still to open on an unboxing video. The reason I haven't done them all just yet is because the video would go for 3 hours if I did them all at once, so I'm trying to space them out. So I apologise if you recognise one of those boxes and you're thinking, damn it, I sent that a month ago, but I shall be getting around to it, don't worry about that. I'm quite keen. And there's a couple of cupboards under here, actually they're supporting the bench, so that's a good little tip for you. I don't know, I'll see them, there's empty spare parts box. Oh look, there's a baby koala. Probably one of Kevin's relatives, maybe. Aussie flag, bits and pieces. Look, cup for the world's best modeller. I was awarded that last week by myself. Spare parts bins. I'm starting to get organised, as you can see. This hobby can be a bit chaotic if you let it get away from you. So you have to try and stay in control. There's those barrels I was talking about on that picture. Need to print some more of those off. Taps and dies and little bags, all sorts there. Oh, these when I did the battle group the other day, I had so many vehicles I couldn't actually physically get them all done. So these were intended to be featuring in that video, but I never got around to it. So these are on the to-do list. When I've got nothing better to do, I should be cracking on with those. Up here I've got bins of cars that people have donated. They're all labelled. These were from David G, for example. These were from John Edwards. One here from Nigel Watts. So I know who sent them all to me, and I'm going to get through them. It's just a question of prioritising. I can't do them all at once. I'm only human. I had some business cards printed off too, which I quite like. So when I send stuff out or return vehicles to people that have requested them back, I chuck in a couple of those just to fly the flag, so to speak. Trying to improve the quality of videos, I bought some light stands with these light dispersal umbrellas, whatever you call them. Here, I'll put one on. What's good about these is I got them off eBay, they're cheap, and they're flicker-free globes. Like I've had some in the past and they create like a strobe effect which doesn't look particularly good, you know, so I couldn't use that footage, but now I get more footage and it's clearer. What do we got here? I love this one, by the way. This is going to come up a treat. Just look at the mess that's in. This is what I'm thinking of concentrating on next, this road train, the Cooper Garrett one. The problem with this is I've got to make up these stickers and they've got a particularly weird shape to them. But I'm having some luck. None of these have got doors on. Well, this one has, because those doors are ones that I've 3D printed. Yeah, so I'm experimenting with that. I've got some more there, but on those ones you can see the grain is diagonal, but by rotating the image 45 degrees, managed to get the grain horizontal and it looks quite good. So I'll probably go with that standard because I've got nothing else at the moment. Here's a couple of props in here. Look, we've got a nice little hoodie here for Kevin in the future. That's my wig that somebody sent me, which is crazy. This here is a tin helmet that I made for Kevin. I'll just put it on. Hang on a sec. Oh, shite. There we go. Looks quite good, doesn't it? Now you're thinking to yourself, what did I make that out of? Well, let me show you. And whatever you do, don't tell Julie. See these? We had two of these, but we've only got one now. Because these are from IKEA, by the way. I use this piece, look, for the top of the helmet. And the brim is a Tupperware lid that I cut to size. And this mesh is actually off of an orange bag. You know those mandarin oranges? Painted it all green. It looks quite good, I think. Quite authentic with a little bit of silver highlighting on the edges there. So I'll put this back now. See, it's wet. Just got it off the line. I better go put it back. So what else we got? Oh, this here is all the scenery supplies and stuff that I used for making my diorama. In actual fact, I've got just remembered down here. See this stuff here? That's static grass. And if you're not familiar with it, you apply it with a static grass applicator onto wet glue. And what it does is it makes the grass stand up due to the static electricity. It looks realistic. I made this out of one of those tennis racket electric fly killers. What you do, see, look, it's live. So what you do is you place the probe into the wet glue, and then you put the grass in here and you shake it over the scene, and it stands up and looks realistic. So there's something you can make. So with the static grass, once you've applied it, see it stands up proud off the ground there like real grass. Otherwise it lays flat and just doesn't look realistic. This here's my spray booth. I've mentioned it once before, but never really in much detail. If you have a look in the back there, I've got a fan. And what I do when I'm spraying is I just open the window and put it on like this. And away she spins. And quite often people say, why isn't your fan on? It's something to do with the frame rate, I think. It never looks like it's spinning. But believe me, it is, and it's throwing all the spray out the window because I have the window open. Simple, but it works. It's got some apertures on it on the top here for filming down. I can sit my camera on the top looking down. And on the side, it's got some apertures, one on each side. I can sit my phone in this little channel here. And as you can see, I don't know if it's in focus, but that works well. Gives me some different angles, but for the ultimate variety in angles, I've got this rather cool Camfix custom designed German quality camera that somebody sent me, camflix.com, and it's just fantastic. Look, it's got a grip there and I can zoom in, I can go down. But not only that, if I'm working over here, I can even bring the camera over here if I want to. And you know, it just makes the filming and setting up of the shots a lot easier. So it's a brilliant thing. Have a look in here. There's a load of those 3D doors I made. I've just done a few on mass and give them a quick coat of silver spray. Talking of 3D, here's a paint stand I made. It's got my MMM logo on there. That's 3D printed as well. pretty handy. These brackets are a godsend, but the thing is I can't find any. I bought 2, now I want more. I cannot find them anywhere. They're deco something or other, but they're for paint pots to put your brushes on to make them dry. But they're brilliant when I paint something. I just click these up there to dry. It's just, you know, just really quick and easy to get rid of it out of your hands and move on. Now, for that last video, all those people that said I put the sticker on upside down, you were right. I apologise. Well, I've rectified it this morning. I've got a new sticker, took the old one off, and now I've got it as it should be. I think the pictures I was using for reference for that model were Matchbox models, and like 50% of them were upside down. In fact, a few of them were on an angle. They weren't even top or bottom. So I mistakenly believed that the arrow would point forwards, you know, the point of the star. But I was corrected, and thank you for all those observant viewers that brought that to my attention. I appreciate that. So that's fixed. What else we got? This beautiful light up here. Great thing. If you haven't got one of these, please get one. Can't live without that. It's even got magnifying glass in there. I showed this once before, but it's worth reminding people that these are brilliant and the best thing I've got. I got myself an electric toothbrush. It was on special, like at the $2 shop. Hot Wheels. I'm not fond of Hot Wheels, so I think I'm going to have a go at rebranding this with my own decals and make it into a Matchbox toothbrush set. Yeah. This is something new as well. New vise with some soft vise clamps, grips or whatever you call them there. So that's a little bit more sturdy than the other one over here. This was from the $2 shop. I seem to spend my day in the $2 shop. Yeah, that served me well for the first 12 months, but I figured I needed something better because I was sick of the models falling out as I'm pushing on them and stuff. Yeah, it could cause injuries. It actually did. But, oh, what else we got over here? Oh, a bottle of VB bitter, emergency supplies. That's in case there's a zombie apocalypse or something similar in Melbourne, and we have to hunker down. What else? This here, fantastic, beautiful, really expensive, quality hat that Dean Collins sent me from the US, and it's just a beautiful thing. I'm too scared to wear it in case I get it dirty. It's a great thing to have, and thanks for that. Music, got to have music when I'm working. Colour guide. Oh, new toy, fog machine. That's coming up in the 100,000 subscriber video, which hopefully will be soon. So if you want to see that, click on subscribe, and you'll be in for a treat there. And that's about it, I think. Everything else is as was, just paints and glues and tapes and stirring sticks and all sorts of stuff there. So hopefully you've enjoyed the... Oh, there's one last thing. Somebody sent me a picture over here. Oh, check this out. Somebody sent this picture that they did of me. I've got a core. Kevin's on my head polishing my bald head. I've got spray gun, a pink toothbrush. I'm holding the car with some forceps. I've got my drill. I'm multi-skilled. See all the different hands, and it's by Robinda or something. I thought, yeah, that's good. So I stuck that in a frame. Didn't want to put a nail in the wall, so I used just a pin there. It's very lightweight. So that's inspiration for me to keep going. Okay, so that's the room. I hope that wasn't too boring. Now, before I finish, I thought I'd just take down the other end of the house and show you the trophy cabinet that's behind me when I do the unboxing videos, because a lot of people have asked to see what's in there, and just kind of out of curiosity, I guess, so I'll show you now. Alright, here we go. Put the light on. Hello, Suki. Hello. What are you doing there, eh? Are you looking for me? Oh, yeah. That's Suki. He's a good little dog, my Shih Tzu. Right, where do we start? So it's just on the top row there's a few medals, nothing too special. There's some challenge coins here from when I was an armourer in the Air Force in England. This one here, I forget what it's called, King George V Silver Jubilee Medal. That was awarded to my grandfather when he served in the First and the Second World War. I think it was awarded after the First World War from memory. Anyway, I managed to inherit that off my dad. So here's the first row of cameras. Some of you who collect cameras will know more about these than I do. The pictures in the background are me playing soldiers and stuff from things I've done in the past. Here's some more here. The reason I like these is I just love the engineering that's gone into them, and the look and the weight, the quality feel of them. Just these black ones and brushed aluminium. This one here my mother-in-law gave me. It's like a tiny little spy camera. How about that? I don't know if you can see what brand it is, or whether you know any history of that, but it's quite a cutie. Some more down here. This one here was also given to me by my mother-in-law, and I made a reproduction box for it. That's the only one I've done that for, just for something different. Down here, some lenses, old film. That one over there, I don't know what it is, it's nice though. And this one here, of course, was given to me the other week by a subscriber from the US, which was fantastic. It featured in one of my videos. In this cupboard here, we've got this beautiful model of a Ford GT that Dean Collins sent me as well as the hat. Here's some Air Force Seppicat Jaguar aircraft. This one's 41 Squadron. And this one is in Arctic colours. It's number 54 Squadron. And when I was in the Air Force in the 80s, I used to go to Norway with these guys, and we'd go to Denmark with these guys, and we'd go all over the place. Down here, there's a few bits and bobs that I've collected and what people have given me. Here's a couple of police challenge coins here, another one there. This one here was awarded to me by the Australian Air Force Reserve, and they told me at the time that it was the only one they'd issued. So I don't know whether that's rare or not. Some unusual looking bits and pieces there, Victoria Police pieces. There's another Jaguar. I'm very fond of that because I worked with them. This one's from Desert Storm. It's had a few bombing runs, look. A few missions. Right, this is a, what is this? I forget. It's a Tiger tank. I made this Tamiya model, and I was experimenting with weathering at the time. It turned out not too bad. I was so happy with that one. I went on to this one, and this one's the Abrams. It's got a little light in there, and that one turned out pretty awesome too, even though I do say so myself. And there's a challenge coin from the Gulf War in there, just for something different. And here's a 30mm Aiden cannon round. I was fortunate to acquire whilst I was in the Air Force. It's inert, of course. Just before you all ring up and get ASIO to call in, there's nothing in there. My mother had to bring these over from England when she came over to visit me, and she had to get customs clearance for them. After the Jaguar, I worked on the Tornado, so there's something there, a little reminder for me. Here's another Tornado. It's a swing wing one. And I also worked on the Harrier GR5. There's a picture of that there. There's a couple of little models there that I didn't want to put in my general collection because they're sort of different. So that's why they're in there. So that's those cabinets. Now this end one here, this is just full of bits and pieces that we've picked up whilst we've been on holiday over the years. And a load of junk really, a few books, and dolls and all sorts of rubbish in there. Photographs, photo albums, coin albums, and that's your lot. So for all of those people out there who are curious as to what was in these cupboards, now you know, and I hope you found it interesting. Now just one last thing, over here in the corner is my Flashforge 3D printer that I've used from time to time to make spare parts. I haven't used it in the last few videos because after 600 hours of use it packed in. So if you want to stick around, I will show you how I fixed it. So for those of you who are curious and stayed around to watch me fix my 3D printer, here we go. So my printer is a Flashforge Finder, and to start this repair I've got to remove the filament from the extruder. So I preheat it. See, it's jammed in there. Now these are the parts I'm going to replace, or this is the part I'm going to replace. It's a PTFE piece of tubing, and they deform over time. Now I bought these two small ones on eBay for $3 each, and then when I got my repair kit out, I realised there was one supplied by the manufacturer, and lucky there was, because it's longer than the ones that I bought. So here I'm removing the filament, just putting it out of the way for now. It comes in that nice cartridge that attaches to the back, and I'm shutting the power off. So I've got to disassemble the, I guess you'd call it the head here, to reach that PTFE tube. I didn't realise, but this is a consumable part. So to remove this top cover I have to undo 3 screws, 2 short ones and 1 long one. The long one is in a deep hole, so I use a magnet to help me extract it. The third screw I removed there is longer than the others and a different thread. Now to get this cover off you have to be careful you don't damage this ribbon connector, which is annoyingly held in place by a double-sided rubber pad. So I had to use a small flat-bladed screwdriver to help me get that separated. Now I've got to remove the electrical connectors that go to the head of the machine, the extruder head. And 2 of these wires I guess are for the temperature sensor, so the circuit board knows what temperature the filament is at, and the other 2 are for the actual heating element that are in the head that melts the material. Now I marked one of them black because they were both white. That usually means it doesn't matter which way round they go, so that's probably the heating element, but I didn't want to take any chances. So I just made a little note for myself there when I'm reassembling it that the black lead goes in the top hole. So after disconnecting at the top, I now have to take this little vent cover off on the bottom here. It's 2 screws. They're difficult to get to because they're out of sight and awkward to feel. This vent is used to cool the filament after it's been extruded. Now this assembly on the top here is held in with 3 screws, and it's the micro switch that's used when you're carrying out the levelling procedure to level the print bed. You don't want to damage this, so it's advisable that you remove it carefully at this stage so it's out of the way. You've also got access now to this hidden screw which holds the head assembly in position. Once again I'm using the magnet so I don't drop that screw and it disappears somewhere. Now these wires were disconnected just before, and the plug socket have got to be threaded down through the assembly so that when I remove the actual print head it won't get snagged. Now this is very tight in there, so you just have to give it a bit of a wiggle and pull down. So it's a heater element and extruder tip there, and a temperature sensor in there I'm pretty sure. Now I'm using an 11/16 inch spanner to hold the body of this assembly. And I'm going to use a 6mm ring spanner to remove the extruded nozzle. And underneath that extruded nozzle is where the PTFE tubing is that I'm going to replace. So it's a bit of effort getting to it. This is tight, so I adopt a different grip on the spanners so I can squeeze like that, and that just loosens it off without any sideways pressure. Don't want to snap the head of this off in there and just be left with the threaded section. And once it's been cracked, it just comes out with fingers. There's the tubing I'm replacing. It looks alright. Doesn't really look much different to the one that I'm putting in, the new one. Bit of discoloration on the end, but on closer inspection I can see that it is actually deformed on the inside, and this is what's causing the filament to not flow easily through the nozzle, and it was causing me loads of dramas with prints not being finished. The PLA filament wouldn't come out halfway through the print, and so you'd leave it for an hour, you come back and you'd only have half the print done. So now that I've fixed it, I've put everything back together in the reverse order, which is quite easy, and I'm doing a test print. I wanted to make some doors for this vehicle. So this is what they turned out with. I don't like the grain on these, it's on a diagonal. So I modified the design so it printed at 45 degrees. And now the grain is vertical in line with the edges of the door and looks a lot better. So I've printed out a few en masse there, and I'll put them aside for use in the future. So I hope that was informative, and if you have one of these machines, be prepared because you're going to have to carry out that procedure sooner or later. So that was an insight into my hobby room and the cupboards here in the study, and I hope you found it interesting. And it's now time to say goodbye. So from me and Suki, it's goodbye. But what I found is this little toolkit here that came with the model. And to my surprise, oh shite. Oh, quit. Oh, just being as usual.